Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in honor of Josh Freeman's retirement, we are going to take a look at the entirety of his career and try and figure out what went wrong with Josh Freeman. What happened to Josh Freeman? That's a pretty darn good question to ask in my opinion. It all started with Josh Freeman coming out of college from Kansas State. Now, Josh Freeman was labeled as a very tall, very solidly built quarterback with elite arm strength, a good release, a good runner out of the pocket, as well as being able to keep the ball away from defenders and having pretty decent accuracy. However, while at Kansas State, Josh Freeman did break a handful of records, and his father was even inducted in the Division II Pro College Football Hall of Fame. However, Freeman did have a season where he did have more interceptions than touchdowns, and he overall did not have a very productive college football career. However, that did not stop teams from being very enamored and very interested in just his overall size and build. So he was very much rumored to go to either the Lions, the Jets, or the Bears during the NFL draft. However, he was selected with the 17th overall pick by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the 2009 NFL draft. The Bucs had a new coach in Raheem Morris, who was very much on the Youngry movement, and they also had a new general manager in Mark Dominic as well. Now, the Bucs at the time were rumored to take Michael Johnson as well as Evander Hood and Pariah Jerry, and their quarterbacks from the 2008 season were all but gone. Jeff Garcia had left for free agency, Brian Griese had left for free agency, Josh Johnson was still on the team. However, at this point in his career, he was a career backup, and Luke McCown was eventually traded to Jacksonville before the draft had even started. So it was looking like the Bucs did need a franchise quarterback, and in their minds they had gotten it with Josh Freeman. Things then picked up in the 2009 season, Josh Freeman's rookie year, where he played in 10 games and started in 9, eventually taking over for then starter Byron Leftwich. His best targets were Michael Clayton and Kellen Winslow, and his best running back at the time was Cadillac Carnell Williams. The Buccaneers went 3-13 that season. Josh Freeman had a 3-6 record as a starter. His stats were 10 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, 1,855 passing yards, and a 54 completion percentage. Now, like I said during his time at Kansas State, Josh Freeman did end up having more interceptions than touchdowns. However, this was his rookie year. He might not have been out of that mindset yet in terms of just limiting turnovers and stuff like that. So we'll give Josh Freeman the benefit of the doubt for his rookie year. Things, however, then transitioned to the 2010 season, where Josh Freeman played and started all 16 games during the year, and it was the quickest turnaround in franchise history at the time under Raheem Morris and Mark Dominic's second years with the team. His best targets at the time were Mike Williams and Kellen Winslow, and his best running back was undrafted free agent LeGarrette Blount, who ended with 1,000 rushing yards on the year. The Bucs had a 10-6 record. Specifically, Josh Freeman had a 10-6 record as a starting quarterback. However, they did not make the playoffs, losing out to the Green Bay Packers due to a tiebreaker. Josh Freeman's stats were 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 3,451 passing yards, as well as 61 completion percentage. Now, finally, Josh Freeman had gotten the interceptions down. Things were actually starting to look up a little bit, just overall, not just for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but just as Josh Freeman's career in general. And then the 2011 season happened, labeled the NFL's worst defense. The Buccaneers finished with a 4-12 record. Josh Freeman finishing with a 4-11 record as a starting quarterback for that year. And Raheem Morris was fired after the 2011 season, and there was clear regression, not just from Josh Freeman, but as well as the team in general. Josh Freeman's best targets at that time were, again, Mike Williams and Kellen Winslow, and his best running back was, once again, LeGarrette Blount. However, all of those players that I just mentioned had reduced numbers in their stats, and it was just a really bad year in general for the team. Now, like I said, Josh Freeman had only started 15 games. He missed one due to injury, and his stats were 16 touchdowns, 22 interceptions, 3,092 passing yards, and a 62 completion percentage. So we are at this point again where Josh Freeman is having more interceptions than touchdowns. It was a problem that he had in his rookie year, and it was a problem that he had dating all the way back into college, and it's a problem that he had in 2011. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Josh Freeman, when he didn't necessarily have the best team around him at this point so far in his career, he would not be able to compensate for lack of talent surrounding him, and he would also put up bad numbers. We then move on to the 2012 season, and like I said, in the 2011 season afterwards, Raheem Morris was fired, and then came in new head coach Greg Schiano. Now, Greg Schiano did not like Josh Freeman. In fact, he did not like him from the very, very, very start, ever since he had joined the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There was a rumor of a large rift between Freeman and the coaching staff, and this was very apparent, and it will become even more apparent later on. However, the Bucs were 7-9. Greg Schiano had been coaching at Rutgers for the past 10 years, and he was not known, obviously, for being an NFL coach. Last time he would have been any form of a NFL coach. He was a defensive backs coach many, many years ago, prior to becoming the head coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And like I said, one of the main stories was this rift beginning to form between Josh Freeman and Greg Schiano. However, the best targets for Josh Freeman this year were newly signed tight end Dallas Clark and newly signed wide receiver Vincent Jackson, and his best running back was newly drafted Doug Martin, who had 1,000 yards on the year. Like I said, a 7-9 record was Josh Freeman's record as the starting quarterback, and he posted 27 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, 4,065 passing yards, as well as a 54% completion. Now, this isn't too bad of a year in my opinion. Yes, you finally have another year where Josh Freeman did not throw more interceptions than touchdowns. However, 17 interceptions is still a lot. That was probably one of the highest totals in the league at that time. But 27 touchdowns isn't bad as well. You do have better weapons like Dallas Clark and like Vincent Jackson. So if you try and maybe improve the team around Josh Freeman, maybe things get better. But the 2013 season was definitely where things fell off. Greg Schiano then drafted Mike Glennon in the third round of the 2013 NFL Draft, and the rift grew between Josh Freeman and the staff even greater because, according to rumors, in 2013, there was a lot going on with Josh Freeman, especially after Mike Glennon was drafted. Josh Freeman kind of went into this not insane mindset, but he went into a very I don't care mindset, and that's not a good mindset to have. Josh Freeman only started 3 games for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we'll get to why in a second. However, his best targets were Vincent Jackson and Taquan Underwood, as Mike Williams was injured for a little bit, and his best running back was Doug Martin, who posted a not so great year because he was injured. Now let's talk about all the drama that surrounded this 2013 season. Now, like I said, Josh Freeman was the subject to a rift, and this rift was kind of because it looked like Josh Freeman didn't necessarily care anymore. He missed a team photo when he was supposed to be your starting quarterback. He was not voted as a team captain due to the fact that a lot of people had considered that he had lost the locker room, and he had even missed a couple of team meetings and were fined for said team meetings. And there was also a lot of rumors swirling at the time about Josh Freeman and drug issues. It was leaked out at the time that Josh Freeman had taken Adderall, which was on the NFL's exempt list. He was exempt, so he was allowed to take Adderall. However, he had taken another drug, which was not on the exempt list, so Josh Freeman had entered stage 1 of the NFL's drug program at the time. Now, when you hear the words drug program, it's kind of very negative in a way, and it was. When it was leaked out, a lot of people started to sour on Josh Freeman, especially not just as fans, but also in the organization. People were losing faith in Josh Freeman, and Josh Freeman was not helping his case at all by missing team photos, missing team meetings, not being voted as a captain, losing the locker room, and having all this information leaked out with him. It also didn't help that during one of these games when Josh Freeman was deactivated after being benched after week 3 for rookie quarterback Mike Glennon, the Bucs had come out and said, well, it was a mutual understanding to deactivate Josh Freeman. After that statement was made, Josh Freeman's agent came out and said that is a lie. So there is so many conflicting stories and opinions on this whole Josh Freeman debacle during this time that it's really hard to tell who was right and who was wrong. Was Greg Schiano right? Was Josh Freeman right? Who knows at this point? It doesn't really matter because all of them are gone. But it was a very interesting conversation to have at the time. Was this information leaked by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Was it leaked by Josh Freeman and his agent because he didn't want to be on the team anymore after they drafted Mike Glennon? Eventually, Josh Freeman did ask for his either release or trade, and they did try to trade him. However, there was no interest from the rest of the league, and he was eventually released. After he was released, he then joined the Minnesota Vikings and played in my opinion, the worst Monday Night Football game ever played in the history of forever. Josh Freeman, I believe, threw 53 passes and only completed 20 of them after being on the team for only 10 days. He did not know the playbook, and he was probably pressured to be played by the front office, telling the head coaching and the coaching staff, like, hey, play this guy. We're desperate now. We have a 1-4 record, I believe, is what they had at the time. We need to play this guy. And they played him, and he lost. And he was eventually released, or he was regulated to a third-string quarterback role, and then he was eventually released. After that time, he ended up going to the New York Giants a little bit later on, but did not last very long. He never even played in a game. He was then released and signed with the Miami Dolphins. Again, another situation where he did not play in an NFL game, was only part of the offseason program. It was then released. He then went to the Brooklyn Bolts, which is a developmental league, and played there for a little bit and did not perform very well. Was then signed to the Indianapolis Colts and played in a couple of games, I believe. It's either he played in a couple of games, he was the backup. He was there for a little bit, and then he was not re-signed by the team. He then went to the Canadian Football League and was meddling around there for a little bit. And now he is recently retired. The last time he was part of an NFL team was back in 2017. We are now in 2018. He tried to do some stuff with the Canadian Football League. It didn't work out, and he is now retired as of yesterday. So what happened again? It seems like after the 2013 season, things just went horribly, horribly wrong for Josh Freeman. He got put in some very bad situations, specifically from 2013 and onward. Between the 2013 season, and now, it's just been a terrible time for Josh Freeman. He's had a really bad 5 years. So what can you chalk it up to? Well, I think one of the main things is Josh Freeman's attitude towards the game did not help anything. It also doesn't help that your head coach hates you, essentially. But the point is Josh Freeman did not handle these situations well. He had a very bad attitude towards things. I feel he just personally did not like Greg Schiano, and that kind of affected his mindset. Back whenever he was playing for Raheem Morris, he was kind of all about it. He was trying to play. However, when encountered with Greg Schiano, at least after the first year, you could tell that Josh Freeman just really didn't want anything to do with the organization, and quite frankly, the organization eventually did not want anything to do with him. They were basically moving on without him while he was still on the team, and it was very awkward and a very messy breakup, I guess you could say, but I feel it needed to happen. Josh Freeman had essentially lost his heart, not just for maybe football in general, but for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He did not want to be part of the organization anymore. He might not even have fully wanted to play football in the NFL anymore, and you could tell. Missing team meetings, there's no excuse for that. Missing team photos, there's no excuse for that. And not being voted a team captain when you're supposed to be the starting quarterback, there's no excuse for that. Now, there's a lot of, at the time, there were a lot of rumors that Josh Freeman was being set up, and Donald Penn even came out and said it's like they're really trying to bring him down. And there were rumors being talked about, well, he was being given wrong times, and the Buccaneers themselves were leaking out this information, and a lot of people in the organization were against Josh Freeman. They were trying to take him down. Now, whichever side of the debate you guys want to take, you are right to take that debate. You can support Josh Freeman and say he was unrightfully attacked, I guess you could say, by this organization. And you can also say that the organization was right because Josh Freeman had just flat out lost the heart for the game, and he just didn't care anymore, and he was acting like a very selfish quarterback and just a selfish person / player in general, and that was very apparent as well. You can take either side of the debate, defending the Buccaneers or defending Josh Freeman. Me personally, I can see a little bit of both. I can see a little bit of both. I can understand why you would want to, move on from Josh Freeman if he's going to have that bad of an attitude towards the organization and just towards playing football in general. At the same time, if you're Josh Freeman and you feel you've been having a productive career and then they go out and get a brand new quarterback and you know the head coach doesn't like you, I can understand maybe why you would be very annoyed with this situation and why certain situations might be unfair. Was this information leaked? Was he given the wrong times? We don't know. I'm sure if you asked Josh Freeman, he would tell you that yes, he was given the wrong times, and yes, this information was leaked by the organization or some third party source. But in the end, we don't know. It's going to all be speculation. However, Josh Freeman had a very up and down career. He did have a couple of good years for the team, and I wish him nothing but the best post retirement. Josh Freeman, congrats on having a career in the NFL, and you didn't do terrible for the Buccaneers. He actually held a large amount of team records until Jameis Winston has come along and has pretty much broken most of them. He'll probably end up breaking all of them when everything is said and done for at least Jameis Winston. But yeah, guys, that's the story of Josh Freeman. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What happened to Josh Freeman? Why did he have such a down spiral in the year 2013 and the 5 years after that? Was it drug problems? Was it attitude problems? All these rumors of stuff, rumors of partying and drug problems, rumors of having a bad attitude and an inflated ego. What do you guys think was the problem? Do you think Greg Schiano and the coaching staff was a problem with the fact that they just didn't give Josh Freeman a fair chance? Or do you feel that Josh Freeman was the problem? He had a bad attitude and overall just had a lot of problems tied to him that just became more apparent in the 2013 season. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And if you're new, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, follow the Facebook page, follow the Facebook group, all that fun stuff. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, everything else. And as always, guys, I will see you in the next video. But until then, goodbye for now, guys. See ya.